What's going on, everybody? I'm super excited to be doing this interview with one of my clients, IJ, who's had incredible success over the last couple months being part of the Elite Fit Pro CEO. I don't even know what I want to call it. I've changed the name so many times. But I wanted to take the opportunity to talk about his experience in this program, and more importantly, some of the shifts that he's been able to have to really take his business to the next level. So, but before we begin, I'd love for you just to introduce yourself as the man that takes a ton of naked pictures on his Instagram. I'm just kidding. Just introduce yourself, a little bit about you, and who you help.
Yeah, for the record, since I started with Will, I've actually transitioned into less naked pictures. But I'm IJ Smith. I'm 28 years old. I am a husband, a father of two. I'm a registered nurse, and I've been doing online personal training for about 2 years. I was with mentorship before Will, a few of them actually, and the one like been burned a couple times, and then the last one I got some value up into a certain point. Then I got with Will, and that's really when the results started to surpass what I was doing before. I was just 1 month into Will, working with Will, and I over doubled my highest month. I contracted up to like 60K, and I collected 47K. He helped me with my content, with getting some systems in place, knowing how to hire a team, getting like speed to lead, like a lot of little shifts that made like the biggest difference.
Yeah. So, coming from you, you worked with 2 to 3 mentorships before. What I guess was the deciding factor that you still needed help? Because most people invest in 2 to 3 mentorships and they have this belief that, nothing's going to work for me, right? Or I've been burnt before, that I'm scared to invest again, or my business is what it is. It's just going to be this way. So I guess talk to me kind of like, what was that deciding factor for you, after working with 2 to 3 mentorships of, okay, I'm doing well. I think you were at what, 15 to 20, maybe a little more or less,
Yeah.
to continue even looking for help and support.
Yeah, so it was honestly just the inconsistency. Like it was, I would have a good month, bad month, and it was just kind of back and forth. And I honestly didn't know too much about your program, like at all. But Zach, one of your clients as well, was somebody who was in the same mentorship as I was before this. He recommended me to you, and I took a chance and trusted what Zach said, and saw that like Will was qualified and went through with it, and honestly was one of the best decisions.
Awesome, man. So let's talk about, one of the things that you mentioned earlier is that you work with nurses, right? And I think one of the questions that everybody asks me is like, do I need a niche down? Should I have a niche? Does it make a difference? And I wanted to kind of walk through your perspective on having a niche, and then I'll elaborate on my perspective of why I think you've done so well within your niche.
So say that one more time. The importance of niching down and how I've done so well.
So most people ask about, do I need a niche,
Yeah.
right? And if anybody knows me, I'm 50-50 on it. For you, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So, why do you think that you've been able to have such success with your niche?
Okay, yeah. So before I was kind of just trying to help everybody. Like I was trying to help like the parents, since I'm a parent. I was trying to help like ex-athletes. I was trying to help like healthcare workers, like really trying to get as many people as I could. And like that's where like the inconsistency was coming. But then once I started working with you, and then we started to really niche down on the healthcare workers, like nurses, travel nurses, CNAs, like residents, like all the people who are actually like qualified, who like I can directly relate to like their pains and know like what happens behind closed doors. Once I started like niching down on that, and like really honing in on the pain points and how we could solve them, like that's actually when like the biggest like leap happened.
Yeah. So the main point that I was trying to allude to is that most people try to go after a niche because they think they have money, which is hilarious. the reason why you've been so successful with your niche is because you are or were your niche. You know,
Yeah.
and if I look at some of my other successful clients that are doing 50, 70, $100,000 a month, you know, most of those people in some way or not are or were their niche. And I think one of the most challenging problems for people is that they try to go after people who they don't understand. So when you're getting on a phone call trying to talk about the pain and problems and all these other things, you know, if I'm a guy trying to sell to a mom, I just don't relate, right?
Yeah.
It's just not it's a totally different topic. So the reason why I've been able to have success is because I know this business just as well as anybody because I've been doing it for 9 years. So I think the thing for you was allowing you to go all in on your niche, but still know that it wasn't going to affect your bottom line, right? Because you know, the conversation I have with most people is like, well, if I narrow down, am I still, is there going to be enough leads? Am I going to be able to grow my business? All this other stuff. But obviously, we've proven that otherwise.
Yeah, that was my first concern. Like, I was like, okay, what if I like start to restrict the people that I'm reaching? But then it was just a lot more quality and like honestly the best decision, like directly relating and like being able to like speak to your niche.
Now let's elaborate on that a little bit more. So speaking with your niche, how have we applied that into ads? And what has been your biggest aha moment or thing that you've learned from the ads side of things working together?
Yeah, so I mean, first of all, like how to structure the ads, like with your help, calling out the ideal client, having the promise, and then um, showing proof, and then having a direct call to action has been huge. But like that with me being in my scrubs or with my stethoscope, like so people can directly like point out that I'm a nurse or I'm in healthcare, so that they can kind of relate and like reach out.
Yeah. Yeah, I think everybody gets so caught up in trying to make their videos, you know, aesthetically pleasing. And I'll be direct. If anybody's seen his ads, I mean, I think you're just in a chair in scrubs at your place, aren't you? Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not anything special. But the thing is the visual hook. And I think again that everybody is trying to have like these overly edits and flashes and all kinds of stuff that if I'm a nurse and I see you in scrubs, I instantly identify that this is something about healthcare. And if you would have gone the other route and say we would have went after dads, if you had your children or child, you know, whoever in the video, that obviously signifies, hey, this guy's a dad. So I think a lot of people try to overcomplicate ads with funnels and specific weird interest groups and targeting and all this stuff. But really, the creative is the most important thing. And I know for you and I mean, we've tested, you know, a bunch of different ideations, right? How many
Yeah.
different types of things have we tested?
Um, Quite a few, like 10 plus.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And I think that's another thing is that everybody thinks that I'm going to launch one ad
that's what I
and
thought. I thought I was gonna be one and the money is gonna be raking in.
right? And it wasn't that way. And we did eventually find one or two that are, you know, doing really well.
Yeah, a
But I think
few.
it took some scripting, it took some changing, and you have to be okay with that. You know, everybody thinks I can launch one ad day one and it's going to be the end all be all, and it just doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
So, um, so hit 60K, which is phenomenal. Have a team in place, feeling really good. What is kind of I guess, bigger question? What has that money been able to do for you, or what has that changed in your life?
Just having the consistency has been huge. I have some debt right now I'm trying to get out of. So I mean, having that come in and like knowing like being able to pinpoint like all of like um the data and like be able to correct like what needs to be corrected. Like we were having a couple no shows and it was because we were booking too far out. And so being able to pinpoint that and correct it, we were able to get back on track. Like just having some systems in place and knowing like what to fix and then like um to like get out of this like little rough patch that these previous months have got me into and eventually like get into like a lot more like financial freedom.
And with financial freedom, I mean, what's the big goal in the next 6 months to a year?
I want to move my family to a better house, one with a bigger backyard for the kids.
Okay,
Yeah.
right. I know that. Why did I buy a house, right?
Yeah.
It's, you know, that I'm trying to take care of too. So, No, that's awesome, man. I love that you have the family aspect too. That's really important. And I think it's a motivator for you to challenge yourself and want more. A lot of people tell me they want to make more money, but just hearing you say you want to buy a house for the kid, for your family, I think that's a bigger motivator than just saying, hey, I want to make money.
Yeah, it was that way when I was single, but now I got other people to look
Right?
after,
Right?
so
It's a
you know what I
different
mean?
ballgame. Yeah. So the other thing that you mentioned, I'll elaborate on this a little bit, is that you talked about the transition with the speed. So do you want to talk about like just the difference that made, that the small adjustment that we did?
Yeah, 100%. Like, I mean, you hear it all the time, like speed to lead. Like if people are booking out like, 3, 4, or 5 days, from when you first talk to them, like the chance of them even showing up or like the quality, like already, like, it's going to be super low. So, you know, one one change that I did is like getting them within like the next day at most the second day, and then like I'll even take calls like right then and there if my setters are like having a conversation with them and like, hey, actually on my lunch break right now and I have time, like I'll do that and I'll get them for a sales call the next day, and then I'll usually close them just because like the faster you get them on the call in the emotional state, like the faster like that they will like want to close and start.
100%. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think the big thing for you was that when you came to me, it's not like I think a lot of people are scared that they're going to completely reinvent the wheel when it comes to your business. My intention with any of the clients that I work with is I want to look at your business from a 50,000 foot view and be like, okay, let's fix this thing right now and this thing instead of tearing it completely from scratch. And
Yeah.
I'm sure you can probably allude to this, is that when you came in, you're like, Will's going to probably tear my entire business apart.
Yeah, I thought so, man. I just like it was so inconsistent. I was like, dude, we got to start from from the bottom. But no, it's easy. Like a lot of small fixes that made a big difference. Like,
Yeah. Last thing, I don't want to take up too much of your time today. What would be advice that you would give to anybody who's probably been in, 2 to 3 mentorships before? Kind of just talk about your experience, with me personally and kind of the touch points that we've had.
yeah, I mean, a few things that I've like really liked working with you. Like one, how just like responsive you are. You're always there. Like I don't know how you do it, but you're like always like in the group. You're always on the one-on-one. Like you're everywhere, and so like you're always there to help, which is huge. And then two, that like you take it very individualized, like, and the one that we were like me and Zach were in before, the mentorship, like is kind of like putting you into a box if, and like we were starting to go different routes, but they wouldn't help after that because it wasn't their way. And then so like you kind of just taking it individualized and like working with what we got, like that has made like the biggest difference for me too, like just like how responsive you are and just like taking it as individualized as like we are, so that way we can build like to what you think we're capable of.
Awesome. I appreciate that, man. So, advice to anybody that's watching this video.
Send it, man. Get on with
Send
Will.
it, send it, send it. No, but that's it. I mean, really, guys, what it comes down to is that probably 85%, 90% of my clients have worked with 2 to 3 mentorships. I think the key difference of those that really get to the next level and those that don't are the ones that continue to invest and look for the right person and look for the right community and mentorship. Because when you do find that person, you can take that person from 30 to 50 to 100 to 200, if not more. And you look at some of the clients that I've worked with for years that have gotten over the 100K, and it's really because they've just stuck it out and stayed consistent. So I think that's it, guys. If you have any questions or would love to schedule a call with our team, there's going to be a link below. You can go stalk IJ on Instagram. I'll put his Instagram below. Please avoid all the naked pictures that were transitioned.
You got dig now, so
Yeah, well, you just did a photo shoot like last month, didn't you?
yeah, a couple weeks ago.
Look at that. I wish I was as good as you. But that's
You
it,
did
guys.
good things
Like
that
I
we got
said,
the matching shirt.
what was that?
I said we got the matching shirt and hat,
Oh,
so
I
we're
know,
close.
twins. If you guys have any questions, like I said, there'll be a link to schedule a call below. And once again, IJ, thanks for taking the time today.
Sir, thank you, man.
Done.